Hey guys, I've been excited to cover a Giant bike for quite some time, but a lot of them are sold out. And then I heard from this guy, Dave, who's a fan of EBR, and he said, I own one of the products. It's the Stance E+2. Let's meet up and do a little ride together. We had a blast, just kind of jump right into it. But this was awesome. It's really nice to get to hear someone's experiences who actually owns the bike. And I love doing this kind of thing. So if you have an e-bike, you want to hang out sometime, just hit me up, leave a comment or something, and we'll do it. 42 and a half maximum.
42 is always the answer, apparently.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide, huh? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I got all the batteries and stuff off of the bikes. Dave's been kind enough to not only bring the battery for his bike, which is right here, but also for his prior bike. Which model was that, Dave?
That was a 2019 Giant Fathom E+2.
Fantastic. So you got the upgrade. These are both, you were saying this is a 500 watt hour as well?
Correct.
So this one, it's physically a little bit longer for the new Stance E+2. It does have a frame matched cover. So if we flip this thing over, you can see that nice green. And one of the trade-offs with this type of design is that it's a little less universal. So over here, we have a Bosch Power Tube. This is a 625. And actually I was kind of surprised. This is like 7.5 pounds and this one's like 9.5 pounds. So it's physically heavier, but it has the shield connected to it. Here we have the shield separate. It does end up being a little bit lighter, even with the shield, even at a higher capacity. So Bosch might be spending a little bit more money for high capacity cells. If we come back to this one and we look at some of the information, this is a 36 volt battery and they're estimating 496 watt hours. So, you know, again, roughly that 500 watt hours, which can take you pretty far when you're using a really efficient drive system like this, measuring pedal cadence, pedal torque, and rear wheel speed. We can see the magnet down here affixed to the rear spoke. One of the interesting things about these wheels is that the rear wheel has 32 holes. We've got these nice nipples. They almost look like 13 gauge spokes. They're slightly wider. Black rims, everything's black, very nice. And then up here, 28 hole rims. And this is boost hub spacing up here. So 110 millimeters versus just 100. We got a 15 millimeter through axle with quick release. The rear also has quick release, but it's a 9 millimeter axle with just a quick release skewer. And they say it's 141 millimeter hub spacing, which is interesting. A lot of times I'll see 135, 142. So 141, it is not boost. Boost would have been 148. So it's really interesting. Maybe they're able to get away with fewer spokes up front because you have that wider like support angle for the bracing, and that's, you know, the boost hub spacing. These are not plus size tires, they're 29ers, so, you know, 29 by 2.4. Plus is 2.6, 2.8, or 3.0. So the 29ers have really, it feels like they've kind of been coming back. They give you a little bit more height, lower attack angle. It's a pretty good setup, and to see quick release front, rear, even on the seat post, and this is 30.9 by the way, if you do want to get maybe a dropper post or a suspension seat post, although that'd be redundant. We already got 130 millimeters of travel up here with the air fork, 120 in the rear. And this is like a unique sort of a single pivot design right here. At first I thought horse link, but we don't have, there isn't a pivot point back here. So this actually has some flex in the seat stays and the chain stays. I like that it comes with this neoprene wrap and extra rubber sticker here. So you're not gonna nick up the frame. It's this beautiful metallic green. It only comes in one color, but it does come in 4 frame sizes. We're looking at the large right here. So anyway, coming back to the battery, a little bit heavier, maybe harder to get a replacement, or you have to get the color match shield. If you did end up with just some sort of black solution, I feel like it would look pretty good with this bike because black is the other accent color. Maybe lower capacity cells or just the energy density a little bit lower. I was really surprised to see that Giant has upgraded their charger. This is a 6 amp charger, very fast compared to something like, you know, this is a charger over here from Bosch. This is their standard charger, 4 amps, and you know, it weighs like 1.5 pounds. This one's at 2.5 pounds. You can see it's quite large physically. So you're potentially getting a faster refill. They say 2.5 hours to charge it up to 80%, which to me is like okay. You know, usually the lower half or so of the battery is a lot faster to charge because it doesn't have to balance the cells. But something like this is just, it takes up so much more space in a backpack or something. And having, you know, a 500 watt-hour battery, that's pretty good. But we are getting into this, you know, 625 watt-hour opportunity with maybe some competing packs. So to me, I feel like there are a couple compromises with the battery, be it the weight, the shield, and then also the way that this is able to charge. You do need this dongle if you want to charge it off the bike. So we did take it off the bike, which is something I usually consider doing that if it's really hot outside or extremely cold, because these battery cells are sensitive. The cold is going to make it lower capacity for the day, or at least until it warms up. Extreme heat actually degrades the cells over time, and you're going to lose that higher capacity. It's basically your range is going to start shrinking because of that extreme heat over time. So being able to take the battery off fairly easily, charge it separately is nice. Just don't lose this piece. And for me, again, that's with the Bosch solution here. It's the same charger on the battery as we have on the bike frame. With Giant, they're going with a different sort of interface down here. When they do have that nice little rubber cover, so we can see the plug here, put it in like that. It's interesting that the cable goes this way. I was expecting like down, and if we pedal backwards here, it gets close, but then it does collide. And it, you know, now it's like you can't really pedal forward without walking the bike forward. So just kind of carefully pull that out like this and try to work it down. There we go. So again, it looks like there's a little bit of room for improvement just on the charging interface here. And these cranks, some of the companies, you'll notice it doesn't cycle the drivetrain backwards, and it also spins pretty quickly. So some of the different companies are adding a little bit more friction in the back pedal. So see how there's more friction, so it doesn't just accidentally. I'm going to try to give you an example. Dave has these awesome race face pedals on here, and they have these really like sharp, awesome like pins, but they will cut you up. And so if you trip on that while you're pedaling, yeah, I mean, it can really go flying. So please be careful. Please keep in mind that you don't want to break the charging interface. Every time you want to charge, it's way down here. It's on the non-drivetrain side of the bike. So if I lay this down like this, first of all, we'll put the pedal in this position. If we lay it down, this bike doesn't have a kickstand. So now how do you plug in? Like ideally that would have been up here. Right, or at least on the drivetrain side of the bike, because that's the delicate part, the derailleur and everything. So to me, a lot of companies have been doing this, and for a mountain bike with no kickstand, please put the charger on this side, the charging interface. And please, you know, if you're spending the money to make an awesome charger, it's got this great interface here. It'd just be nice if it was also the same interface for the battery. So those are my complaints. I do appreciate that, at least with the locking mechanism for the battery, it's up high. But again, now we have to like lean this against a wall or something, or maybe you get a kickstand. They do have a tab there. See that little black piece of plastic? It does appear you could add your own kickstand to this bike. This is like a cross-country, maybe a light trail bike, just in terms of travel and geometry and stuff. It's a little bit more upright. It's not the super aggressive. It's the Stance E+2. It's not the top of the line model, but it's also not the lowest end. So they have a few different choices here in terms of price and how aggressive you want to get. It still has air suspension. It's a good setup. It looks nice. It's got good weight distribution, low and centered. I think the motor here, even though physically it looks fairly large, this is like 7.5 pounds. It's got that nice plastic shield, so it protects it from, you know, rock strikes and log strikes if you're going off-road. And we can see a similar design over here with the Cube. Again, this is not really a mountain bike, but it shares some of the same design elements. You can actually see the motor protruding down a little bit, right? See how it tips down? So they've tipped the motor at an angle there. And then this is a kickstand that has a similar interface as they've got over here. So there's a lot that you can do with this bike. One of the things I really appreciate about these like custom frames where they have the custom motor interface and they get to put the battery in the frame and everything is Giant made room for a bottle cage mount right here. And it looks like Dave's using that for a folding ABIS lock, but
correct.
You know, compared to your other bike, it sounds like this has changed a bit.
Yeah, quite a radical change actually. On the 2019 Fathom, the battery mounts on this side of the down tube. And so there's a flat down tube and the battery sits in at an angle, and then you push it in square. And
it's on top of the like down tube more.
Yeah.
Versus this one kind of mounts up from the bottom.
Exactly.
Okay.
So these bottle cage mounts moved to the down tube. which of course you couldn't do here because of the rear suspension anyway.
Well, I love that there was enough room for the bottle cage, also for you to hang this bike on the back of your car, and they still managed to slope the top tube to make it fairly approachable.
Yes.
Done. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So that's a great reason for this upgrade, and having a proprietary battery. We just took it off. Actually, one of the things I like about it is that this battery, you can kind of set it in like this, and then carefully push it up, and check this out. It locks in even without the key. It just perfectly, great fit. I love to see that. And this is a bike that's been ridden, so it's like the frame could have flexed a bit and stuff. It wasn't like really tough for me to get that in. And then, do you happen to have the key, Dave? Yep. I can stabilize the bike if you want to take that out. It seems like as soon as you unlock it, does it just tumble out, or is there's a step?
No, far from that.
Cool.
Matter of fact, sometimes I kind of stumble to get it out. So you can hear that click, and that's the first release. Huh. Then you pull this tab here to get it out.
I really like that. So they're doing the same sort of safety thing, because again, at 9.5 pounds, you don't want to drop that battery. It's so nice.
No.
And this is plastic. I was asking earlier, like, oh, is there any rock chip tape, or, you know, it kind of like on chains, how they have like the slap guard. Sometimes there's like a plastic thing, but this being plastic, I think it's pretty durable. And even if you nick it, it's like fairly deep. It's paint that seems to be like set into the plastic. So the total weight of this bike, once the battery is on there, we weighted at 54.9 pounds. Keep in mind, that's with these little extras, the Garmin mount for the display, and then like kind of a Garmin button pad that Dave's added. And then these pedals are not stock. This is what the stock pedals look like. They're Well-Go, kind of a cage style. They don't give you as wide of a surface, so if you have bigger feet or whatever, it's nice to upgrade to something race pace. The Chester is a great pedal. These ones, you know, if the bike tips and stuff, they can start to get kind of sharp or scratched up. So this composite here is really nice. He's also got a shock pump here, aftermarket and stuff. But anyway, you know, 54.9 pounds, maybe it's like 53 or 54 pounds. That's pretty good for a full suspension. They keep it light with the air suspension here. It's not like spring. I like that they got a tapered steer tube there as well. So you could swap this fork out pretty easily for something that's pretty high quality if you wanted to. And then here's the manuals and stuff that also come with the bike. While we're down here, I just want to talk about the drivetrain. I mean, this is a pretty good setup. 36 tooth chainring steel, narrow wide, so it's going to grab that chain. It's not going to have that slip or dropping. And then they have, this is almost redundant, it's like a plastic guide, so that's another layer of protection when you're on really bumpy terrain, just so you don't drop the chain. Then back here, 11 to 46 tooth 10-speed drivetrain, Shimano Dior derailleur, Shadow Plus, it's tucked in a little bit more, and then we have the one-way clutch, right? So we can tighten that up so you're not getting as much movement and slapping with the chain when you're on bumpy terrain. And then we can unlock it if you want to do some maintenance on your bike, you know, take the wheel off, maybe you got a flat tire or something. Although these tires, we do have the exo protection, it's like puncture protection, and they do come tubeless ready. So you can swap these out and lower that weight a little bit more if you want to. Very nice to see. I mean, all high quality stuff that you'd expect for a bike that's $4,000 US. I think it's 4,400 Canadian.
Yeah, they just put the price up about 2 weeks after I got this.
Wow, you must have been first in line, because they're like sold out on these now, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I was considering an upgrade, and when I went looking around, I kind of liked the look of this thing. Mm-hmm. And my local bike shop, LBS as everybody calls it, had this as the last one.
Fantastic.
So hopped in the car the next morning and went and grabbed it before it was gone.
I think you made a good choice. I mean, this, you know, coming back to some of the components and stuff, I really appreciate we've got the Tektro Orion. These are hydraulic brakes. We do have adjustable reach, so if you have smaller or larger hands, you don't want to compromise your grip too much. These are also locking grips. They feel nice. And then if we come down here, 203 millimeter rotors front and rear with quad piston calipers. So you just get a larger surface area in terms of both the braking surface and then also the rotor itself. That's going to allow it to cool more. It gives you a good mechanical advantage because it is wider, which is nice for having, you know, 29er wheels. There's more weight it's like the kind of stuff you see on a premium bike like this. Interesting to see Yamaha here as well, like the Sync Drive Sport. So they do have another like Sync Drive Pro, I think. The Sport gives you up to 70 Newton meters of peak torque output, which is quite good. I think it peaks out at 120 RPM. So when you're pedaling, that means you can downshift into that, you know, taller ring. That's your climbing or starting ring. And you can pedal rapidly without losing support from the motor. So 120 RPM. And then this is like, I think it can give you 350, or they said 350 or 360% output based on tuning it a little bit. So they have the app and stuff. Do you use that, Dave?
I did on my Fathom. I adjusted the assist levels on my Fathom, but I haven't really found a need to do that here, at least not yet.
Okay guys, so we've got a couple more points to go over here, and Dave's going to talk about some of his experiences. As we were, you know, experimenting with the batteries and doing some comparisons, I noticed that there was some rubber along the edge, and I figured, oh, it's going to keep it more watertight. That's nice. But then you said...
Yeah, it does. And I think that's really a great idea. But when you are pushing the battery into the frame, which you're likely to do with one hand, your hand's going to wrap around that battery and it can get pinched.
Ah, pinch your fingers a little bit in the edge.
Yeah, it caught me right in the palm.
Oh, okay, good. That's a good tip. We're trying to help each other with this. And then you mentioned, I mean, the bike, we were looking at the box a second ago with the instructions. It has reflectors.
Yeah, it came with 4 reflectors, one front, one rear, which I've yet to use. And then one for each wheel as well, which I've yet to use. Probably won't, but...
It's a trail bike, so you know.
So it came with that and a bag of what looked to be shims for the brake calipers. If you remove, say, your front wheel for transport, then you'd put the shim in there so that the pads don't close together.
Such a good idea. So props to Giant for adding those, because if you've ever taken the wheels off of like a mountain bike or any bike with disc brakes and then accidentally squeeze the brake levers, which is easy to do. You're loading the bike, you're lifting it, you squeeze those. Well, the brake pads will touch and then they can get stuck together. And so it's like you want to put those calipers, and also you don't want dust in there or whatever. You start hearing rocks like scratching your rotors. So good points there. I appreciate you mentioning that. I want to highlight also that the crank arms on these, I think these are 170s, but they actually have 160, 165, and 170 based on the size of the bike to be better. And that's great because you're not going to get pedal strikes and stuff if you're on like one of the smaller bikes. Nice to see that. Dave, you've added a couple of interesting things up here, and I'm curious to hear about why and what they offer, but maybe starting out, can you just go through the display panel here? Because this is what you get stock. Like this is extra.
Correct.
That's the button pad.
Yeah. So here it's a really simple design. It's pretty much 5 buttons. Here's your on-off.
Oh wow, and there's all these little white.
Yeah, so on this side is your battery levels in 20% chunks.
Cool.
And then on this side, there's another strip of 5, is your assist levels.
Oh.
So when you first turn the bike on, here I'll turn it off and we'll do that again. Turn that back on and you'll see this LED is on, which you'd think would be the 3rd assist level, but it's not. This is auto mode.
Oh. So
I think that came out in the 2020 model, so my 2019 doesn't have this. But in the auto mode, it's, as its name suggests, it'll choose the right assist level for you based on grade and
this is reminding me of, it's probably like relying on torque a bit more. Bosch has their like EMTB mode, and a number of companies are now doing this where it's like, you just focus on those 10 gears. We'll do the rest. Do you use that a lot? How does it work?
I'd say the first 2 weeks I used auto mode exclusively. And what I found over that amount of time was that it sort of used the battery a bit more than I really wanted. That was one thing. And then the other thing was it had a habit of surprising you with an assist level that you weren't necessarily ready for.
Oh, okay. It's pretty peppy then, right?
It can be. It you know, I guess it thinks that you need this particular assist level when you weren't ready for that.
Yeah, you got lead feet. That's what I'm hearing.
So anyway, I might have used it once since then, but typically I use it in the manual mode, and I'd say 80% of the time I leave it in assist level 3.
Okay. Well, I was impressed that they also include a bell. Like,
Yep.
this speaks to sort of like the hybrid use. I mean, yeah, it comes with reflectors and these pieces. It's a little bit more relaxed geometry. So yeah, this is cool. It seems very water resistant. Down here, there's like a walk mode button as well. So if you get a flat, or if you're on terrain that just you don't feel comfortable riding up, you can hop off, and then the bike will push that 54 pounds for you, and you don't have to.
I've needed that 2 or 3 times.
Really?
On the Fathom, and once with this. There's a couple of steep access trails to Burns Bog, not far from where I live, and
cool.
If without walk mode, this thing would be horrible to get up that last little piece.
Well, and that brings up another point. It's great that we have the battery, like the 5 ticks, each one 20%, but sometimes that leaves you wondering. When you get down to 1 dot, you're like, am I 20 or am I 0? I don't want to run out. And also, I want to comment on like the levels of assist. So I clicked up once, and now there's 3 dots. Does that mean level 2 assist, or what does that mean?
No, 3 dots is level 3.
So we went from auto to 3.
You did, and if you'd gone down, it would have lit up with 3 as well. It's just to get you out of auto mode.
Oh, okay.
And so, you press down and you can turn it off.
Oh, so it's like you're stacking down. Okay, so it's like you're in auto mode at first. How do I get back to auto mode?
Well, so far,
power cycle.
Yeah, so far all I know is turn it off. Yeah, I'm in technology, so have you rebooted it lately? Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you start in auto mode, but then when you start messing around with it, the dots stack.
It's immediately out of auto mode, whether you press it up or down.
And then you have those 5 levels of assist.
Correct.
Okay, good to know, because yeah, this at first it was like, what's going on here? Other things compared to some of the, the online bikes these days, a lot of them have like USB interfaces to charge and stuff, and I was wondering about that because you got your Garmins here, but I don't think you can tap into the battery on this bike, right? No USB.
No,
ports.
I don't know what models Giant does that on. Neither the Fathom or this have it. The Trance, I'd be shocked if it had it.
Yeah.
Other sort of mountain type bikes, I just don't think so.
So that's
maybe more the roadworthy or road versions.
And that's, yeah, I mean, with we got a 500 watt hour battery, but I want to point that out just while we're going over the kind of the human computer interface aspects of this bike. I do appreciate that with the trigger shifters we have, you can like pull or push with the high, and then you've got multi-steps, I think 3 with the low. So I'm very familiar with Shimano Dior. I really like this drivetrain. I also like the shifters that they chose, the brake levers and everything. And now tell me about this whole Garmin thing, and maybe a little bit about the app, because you said maybe you've used the app once, but at some point you were like, it's good enough, I'm not going to adjust, because you can actually adjust the assist levels a little bit, like how much power it delivers by using the app.
That's correct, yeah. So you can adjust any of the assist levels.
But now Garmin, what does this tell us? And I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. It's all right. The Garmin I got for a couple of reasons. I wanted to try downloading some routes onto it.
Yeah.
And I also was interested in getting more accurate battery percentage information.
Was the dealer experience good for you?
Yeah, it has been. I bought both my bikes from the same shop in White Rock. And
want to shout out?
Surrey. Yeah. Well, hi guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, and thanks a lot for helping me out with this bike too. You guys are awesome. Yeah, the experience is great. One of the reasons I did go for a Giant, I looked at Cube as well, and they were high on my list.
Nice.
But I ended up with the Giant, and one of the reasons I did was because of their network of dealers.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. So I figured if I went on a trip and something happened and I needed some help, I'd find a Giant dealer somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, I must say, this hasn't been mentioned. I actually haven't covered Yamaha motors for a while. The last time I was really looking closely at them was with High Bike, because High Bike would have Yamaha, and that was motors that are they don't have those motors as much anymore. This is several years ago, but I remember dealers telling me that they were very reliable. And these were not like Giant dealers. These were independent electric bike shops that had multiple brands of motor: Brose, Bosch, Giant, Yamaha, and Shimano held up pretty well. So. Right. I'm glad, you know, did you ever have any problems with your other giant bike? Like, is there a reason you upgraded besides full?
Absolutely zero defects, zero issues with the 2019 Fathom. It's been utterly bulletproof.
Cool.
So there's no reasons there for changing. But I really missed the dual suspension aspect.
Yeah.
Because my old bike, my acoustic bike,
Yeah.
is a Norco dual suspension, and
Nice.
I really missed that. So
Well, good choice. I feel like, you know, there's a lot on this bike that appeals to me too. So if you don't mind, give me the whole Garmin rundown now, because
Okay.
you talked about having battery and then mapping. You've got two different interfaces here.
yeah, so it's a relatively quick boot up. This is the Garmin 530. The one up from this is called an 830, and it's exactly the same size and exactly the same shape, but the buttons are different, and the reason for that is the 830 is a touch screen,
Oh.
and this is not.
Interesting.
So in any case, yeah, there's the power button here, an up and down arrow. Up and down buttons are on this side, and then this is an acknowledgement key, so if you find something in the menu, pressing this is
Select
yes,
it. Yeah.
and this is go back. And then down here is a start stop for your ride tracking. down
Okay.
here.
And this is rechargeable, guys. I mean, you're probably familiar with Garmin, but it's like you can twist it, take it off, and he's got a little leash,
Yeah.
which is really nice. You're gonna show the charge port?
Yeah,
Perfect. So it looks like micro USB down there.
correct.
Okay, cool. So you got this nice heads-up display there, and then I really like that you've got like a button pad over here. So talk to me
Yeah.
about that a little bit, and show me how you would use this. Maybe we trade places real quick.
Sure. Here we'll go select e-bike. That's the sort of the default e-bike display. And so yeah, there's sort of three modes: road, mountain, and e-bike. It decided
Really?
as soon as it recognized this Ant Plus.
Oh, because that's the other thing. Yeah, this bike has Bluetooth, which is like maybe for the app and tuning, and
Yeah.
then Ant Plus, which is going for the Garmin.
Correct.
Okay.
So Ant Plus, if people don't know, I'm pretty new to it, but anyway, it's communications technology used for sensors. So this remote button display is Ant Plus to the Garmin itself. The giant controller is Ant Plus to the Garmin. If you had a heart rate monitor, it would likely be Ant Plus
Yeah.
for this Garmin. Some of them are Bluetooth, I guess.
Wow.
But in any case, if you've got an Ant Plus device, you should be able to hook up to this Garmin.
Okay, and then you can just change some of the readouts, but otherwise it's just like, here are your readouts, or here's the map, and then you can kind of track your route.
Yeah. So on here, there's three buttons, one of which is programmable. I can't remember which one is programmable. But this blue one here allows you to start and stop your route or trip.
Okay.
This one, as the icon sort of looks, is changing the pages here.
Yeah.
So the first time you press this, the Garmin has to see it. Oh, remote found, it says now.
Oh, so that's just like awareness, and then you press it again, and we're gonna change
Yeah.
displays.
So,
or
yeah, if I press that page
Oh,
button, then
there's the
we're
map.
ready to navigate. Here's your grades.
Cool.
Here's a more complicated e-bike screen that I set up sort of half-heartedly. I've only had this for a week or two.
Cool.
And one of the things I wanted was, of course, the aforementioned exact battery percentage level.
Yeah, and it's there, so you're able to like organize this menu and select the readouts.
That's correct.
Cool.
So
I love how you've had this for a week, and now I'm putting you on camera. You're the expert. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah,
you're
no
a good
worries.
sport.
No worries. So yeah, I'm gonna change it some more because there's some stuff on here I don't really need, like kilojoules. I couldn't care less, but that's me.
Yeah.
But there's quite an extensive list of things that the bike can feed this, and that you can combine with what the Garmin does naturally, like heart rate monitors and things like that.
Very cool.
I kind of like the idea that I can just get what I want right here and keep my hands on the bars.
It's such a great design too. It's so thin, and so you're not actually colliding with the shifter or the brake housing.
Right.
And you could, kind of bridges over that gap, so you actually don't have it as close as you could.
Correct.
And I just wanted to point that out. I also like Garmin. I've used their devices before on other bikes, and I think it's a great choice. So we're kind of at the point, I feel like I've covered most of the specs, and we've talked about some of the trade-offs and stuff.
Do you want one more trade-off?
Yeah, I was going to welcome your input.
At the bottom of the battery, where it connects to the frame, you'll see a gap there.
Yeah.
If you could see in that gap, you would see where the terminals connect.
Mm-hmm.
I find it somewhat illogical that on a bike of this type, where you're going to go riding where it's wet and muddy and stuff like that,
sure,
that there's a gap like that there.
And so you've got those rubber seals all along the sides.
Correct.
And then at the bottom, there's this gap.
Right.
Have you gotten it wet and dirty and then taken the battery off and noticed that water is getting in there?
No, I noticed that rather early, as a matter of fact. And so I kept it very clean, avoided puddles, avoided mud, that kind of thing. And then a light bulb went on, and I got off the internet, I got a set of two like shin wraps, something that you'd put around your leg, with Velcro.
I see.
And so I put that around there, and it covers the gap.
So when you ride, you've got like a bandage almost on your bike.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't need it today,
right?
But you know, if it's rainy at all, or if you're smashing through puddles and mud and the stuff that you want to have fun doing, that'll get dirty.
Do you still have the key, like, for the battery with you?
Yep.
Maybe we can just take that, because I mean, it sounds like you're clearly, this is nice, you're taking good care of it, and there's concern about that, but I want to look in there now and kind of see what you mean.
I don't blame you.
These bikes, they come with, as I understand it, a 2-year comprehensive warranty, plus like lifetime on the frame, plus the dealer support and stuff. So I'm kind of surprised to hear that, you know, so yeah, if we're kind of taking that off carefully. Yeah, so the base of this, these channels, I'm guessing they're kind of style, but maybe structural integrity sometimes if they're beveled like that.
Yeah.
There's the interface that we're talking about. It's raised a little bit, and then there are the metal prongs that you're talking about too. So I guess I can kind of see what you know, hopefully it would drip down and it's not getting forced up and into there, but I do see how that.
Well, yeah, I just see no reason to ever get that wet or filthy.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
So we're gonna take it to the pool next. We're gonna test it. Let's give this thing a go. Thanks for that insight. Are there any other insights or feedback things I missed?
Well, if it was me, just to finish that thought off.
Oh yeah.
I would have sort of flared this out a little and made it longer, so it would have gone past that.
Now that does make sense. I see what you mean. Like, it's a little bit protruding, but yeah. Interesting. And there's the rubber we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the charge level indicator. So it's got 4 little bars, 25% as it were.
Correct.
On that one. Okay, we can load the battery back up. Thanks for doing that. I do really appreciate how nicely it goes in, but I've noticed that every time you connect it, you do a double check, kind of.
Yes. When I first got this bike, I charged it up, put the battery in, and I heard one click, and I thought that was it. It's not.
Oh no, did it like fall out?
No, but it quit on me.
Oh, so the interface, you lost power.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so that's another good double check, and probably most electric bikes with kind of the down tube, up in battery design. I'm super excited to hop on the bikes and ride, but I want to give you a chance again. Like, anything you didn't hear me talk about, or that you want to just point out while we're not out of breath, we're not on the trail.
What have I got to say about this? This is, to me, it's a massive upgrade from the bike I had for pretty much 3 years, I guess. And it's fantastic. And this is just one step above. I dearly love the air suspension.
Yeah.
The
very
Fathom,
adjustable. You have the pump and everything, so you're.
Yeah, the Fathom was a spring fork, and this is air front as well.
And air rear. Yeah, you've got both, and they both have rebound, and then this one has compression adjust up here too.
Yeah.
And then here's the rebound, by the way, for people who aren't super familiar.
So this is a much more comfortable ride.
Yeah. So we just powered it on. It's on auto. I'm just gonna hop on this thing and just
in a fairly low gear.
There we go. Nice and gentle. I'm not pushing too hard, so I'm not getting a lot of feedback yet. Nice. Okay, pretty dynamic. Another thing that I try to comment on occasionally with these mid-drives is that, you know, up to 70 Newton meters of torque, it's a pretty powerful motor. When you're shifting gears, just kind of ease off a little bit so that the motor's not giving you full power, and then you can mash the gears or, you know, stress the chain and stuff. Shifting some gears. Hearing a bit of a clunk when I like start. Maybe it just like the pawls or something in the cassette or something, just taking a second to kind of engage. There's a little bit of play, and it's of course tracking really nicely. Most mountain bikes do. This doesn't have a super slack steer tube angle, and the fork isn't, you know, it's really not set up for all mountain or downhill. This is more cross country, a little bit more upright. It's pretty nimble, and again, very stable. Awesome. I'm actually pretty impressed. I like how quiet it is. At first I was wondering how it was going to be. I'm going to switch down to a lower gear, so we'll be spinning faster, trying to get that 120 RPM. Oh boy. Almost slipped off the pedals. You want to be careful with that. As I mentioned earlier, if you do accidentally slip off these pedals and they go spinning, that's when you can kind of cut your shins up. So be careful, and that would be my feedback. Whoa, and it just kicked off pretty powerfully. Dave mentioned that. He said sometimes it really feels, oh yeah, whoa, it kicks. Like in the lowest gear, if you put weight on it, you're really amping up the torque, the pedal torque, and the motor kicks in. So there's your maximum pedal support. Okay guys, from here you can see the Sync Drive Sport. We've got a 36 tooth chainring steel, narrow wide, gotta love that. And we got that plastic, just kind of a guide. It's gonna keep that thing from falling off. I love that they protected the chainstay so well with the neoprene slap guard. It's Velcroed on, you can clean it. And then 11 to 46, it's a pretty good spread back there, 10 speeds. So also, you know, I mentioned it's like this single pivot design on the suspension. So it's supposed to flex a little bit in the seat stay and the chain stays. It's a design I'm not super familiar with, but it seems to be working pretty well, and I love that it leaves space for the bottle cage and everything, and it's just so tunable. So my goal here is to ride a little bit off-road, a little bit on-road. I'm in the auto level of assist, which means that it could really kick up if I'm pushing hard, but it's also going to be quiet if I'm not pushing. And I think it's pretty nice. It's working well. I'm going to shift through the gears. Again, ease off a little bit if you're in the higher levels of assist, just so that the shifting is smooth and you don't mess up those sprockets in the back. Here we go. So what I did at the end there was I outpaced that 120 RPM motor support, and then I shifted to a higher gear, it dropped my cadence, and the motor kicked back in. So my goal was to show you how loud the motor can be at high cadence and at high power, and then to demonstrate like shifting gears and stuff. And it shifted smoothly because I was, you know, I don't know, I like shifting gears and stuff, and it's fun. It's kind of like a race car. It kicked back in. I got up to like that 20 mile per hour, 32 kilometer per hour top speed. This is a class 1 e-bike, no throttle, no speed pedelec. It's doing great. pretty quiet. Oh, yeah. Pretty powerful. Got a little wheelie action there. Okay guys, I'm on the Cube Kathmandu. We got Dave over there on the Giant, and we're just gonna do a little circle so you get the third person view. Go for it, buddy. Out. Oh yeah.
Definitely not going to go over the top of that.
I was like, oh man, I got the camera out and Dave's going nuts. I'm noticing the noise that this Bosch motor is making a lot more now that I've been on your bike there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Woo! Okay, you can cut across the, maybe follow me this way.
Sure.
Take us on a little adventure. There we go. Lead on.
Down?
Yeah. This is perfect terrain for your bike. Left? Left, yeah. Beautiful. Let's go left.
I would say thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful. No problem climbing. I mean, it's just a playground out here with these e-bikes. Sweet. Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
Great job. I'm gonna go ahead and stow the camera and we can take our ride to the next level. Well guys, it's been tons of fun. I always enjoy making friends and getting the insights and stuff. So Dave, you have been wonderful. And it's cool, you know, being able to kind of look at these different drive systems back to back. That's the Giant Stance E Plus 2. Here again, 4,000 US, 4,400 Canadian. And the exchange rate on that is actually, Canadians are getting a sweet deal if you can find it, because this should be way more expensive than...
Yeah, I was surprised at, you know, I guess it was about, when I got this, it was 4,200.
Wow.
And that was $1,000 more than the Fathom was in late 2018.
Some of the prices have been changing and stuff. Again, this seems to be sold out at a lot of places, so it's cool to get the up close and personal. I have measured all of the specs on this thing by hand and with Dave's help a little bit, because the website, you know, they do a great job, but sometimes they don't have everything. And my goal is to help people who are thinking about buying this to know, okay, the seat post diameter, or, you know, once you've got it, what was the tire PSI rating? It got scraped off the side. All that stuff's back at ElectricBikeReview.com. I welcome your comments, your feedback. I also have some forums, and I have one dedicated to Giant, of course, along with Cube and some of the other brands. I love you guys. Ride safe out there. Have fun. And Dave, thank you again so much.
Loved it.